Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I want to discuss the best tech trees to grind in 2022. The meta in this game changes quite often, and that means the balance of power changes as well between the tech trees. So I want to help you make the best choices so you don't waste your time. So whether you're new to the game or a veteran that's been playing for a while, this information might be helpful, so stick around. Now I won't be including naval in the analysis, but I'm going to rank order these tech trees from best to worst using the following criteria. Number 1 is excitement. Tech trees with exciting vehicles tend to draw lots of players and stay popular for a while. The second one is player friendliness. How easy are the vehicles to use and master? Meaning, do the vehicles have a low skill floor or a high skill floor? Number 3 is firepower. How lethal are the vehicles? Do they have good ammunition choices? Can they deal effectively with vehicles in their BR range? Number 4 is synergy. This game is all about lineups. Simply having one or two good tanks without other vehicles to support them isn't very fun. How well can your vehicles support each other in the lineup? Are there enough vehicles in the tech tree so that you can have a variety to pick from? Potential is the last criterion. How well will the tech tree age? Will it see frequent updates and additions, or will it be power crept into oblivion and forgotten by the devs? Alright, so I'm ready to go. But before I begin, if you guys like today's video and love this type of content, hit that like button and leave a comment to help me out with the algorithm. Grinding tech trees may cost money, but leaving comments and likes are always free. My first choice for grinding tech trees is Russia. The outlook is strong for this tech tree in 2022. There are plenty of exciting vehicles to look forward to from World War II through the Cold War era, and a plethora of premiums to choose from. Russia boasts some of the most modern and capable vehicles in the game, such as the T-80 BVM, the Mi-28NM Havoc, and the MiG-23 MLD. For the most part, the tech tree is player friendly. The more modern ground vehicles are easy to play, have autoloaders, and lots of explosive reaction armor protection. Aircraft are easy to play as well, with the exception of guns on many Cold War era Russian jets. You don't get a whole lot of ammunition for the guns, and the low muzzle velocity really throws a lot of players off, and it can be really hard to adjust to. Also, infrared guided missiles are generally not that good on Russian jets till about rank 7. However, firepower is where Russia shines. Many early ground vehicles have large caliber guns, and Russia has a fair number of heavy tanks if you like that sort of thing. But beware of heat FS though. Top tier Russian tanks are heavy users of barrel-fired ATGMs, and ammunition choices are generally very good. You can compete with your peers in the BR bracket pretty well. Russia also has the most powerful helicopters in the game. The Ka-50, which is a premium, Ka-52, and now the Mi-28NM can all fire the Vickers ATGM, which is the best helicopter-fired ATGM in the game right now. With just one type of missile, you can kill tanks, helicopters, and planes. It's just insane. Russian lineups have lots of synergy because of the sheer variety of vehicles you can pick from. There are multiple types of light vehicles and MBT options at top tier. Russian air has significantly improved to the point where CAS options are pretty good at mid and top tier right now. The potential for this tech tree is very good, and Gaijin puts major effort in it to ensure it doesn't get power crept. It sees updates and additions nearly every patch. Next is the US tech tree. The outlook is good for this tree in 2022. There are lots of exciting and iconic vehicles to look forward to, like the Sherman tanks, Pattons, and of course the Abrams. For example, at top tier you have access to the M1A2, the H-64D Longbow Apache, and the F-4J Phantom II. The US has an enormous amount of tech tree and premium vehicles to choose from. The US tech tree has some of the most survivable tanks at high tiers, and some of the best aircraft, which makes this tree very player friendly. MBTs are highly mobile and have very good firepower. For the most part, you can deal with competitors in your BR brackets in the higher ranks. The strength of the US tech tree lies in the CAS options. US aircraft have a blithering amount of top-notch ordnance and lots of aircraft to fit nearly every niche. US ground vehicles are no slouch either in the firepower department and synergize well when you have a good lineup. You have a good balance of light vehicles, main battle tanks, close air support aircraft, and helicopters that complement each other very well. You have plenty of ground vehicles to choose from for competitive lineups from mid to top tier. The US tech tree ages well and sees multiple updates and additions every patch to keep it relevant. You can't really go wrong with this line. The only reason I put it after Russia is because the helicopters are not as good. The US gets one radar-equipped Apache with adequate Hellfire missiles, while Russia gets 3 radar-equipped helicopters with amazing Vickers missiles that completely dominate. Next is Germany. The outlook is good for this tree in 2022. There are lots of exciting vehicles to play in this tech tree from World War II right up to modern times. Iconic vehicles like the Tiger, Panther, and Leopard tanks are extremely popular with the player base. There is also a healthy assortment of premium vehicles to choose from. Most vehicles are very forgiving. The Leopard 2A5 and 2A6 in particular are probably the best tanks in the game right now, with some of the best armor and ammunition you will find in Warthunder. These two tanks wreck shop. German lineups are solid and comprehensive with very good firepower and synergy. A top tier lineup could go something like this: a TAM-2C or the Rad-90, a 2A5, a 2A6, the Flak, which is one of the best missile SPA platforms in the game, the Tiger UHT with the Fire and Forget Pars 3 LR-ATGMs, and the F4, just to top it off. I mean, that is a Jaeger schnitzel of a lineup, and it is pretty powerful. Alright, so what's the catch? Germany excels with a combined arms lineup, but it doesn't do so well with aircraft options, especially for close air support. Gaijin is working hard here to beef up German aviation, and I expect a tech tree MiG-23 or another F4 for them pretty soon. The almighty G91 with Norbs seems to have gotten a bit of a nerf, leaving Germany missing a key component in their close air support category. So like I said, the Nords used to do good work, but not anymore. I don't expect this to last long though. Germany sees a fair number of updates and additions to the tech tree in most patches, so the potential for the line is quite good, and the Leo 2A5 and 2A6 will remain competitive for quite a while. Next is Britain. The outlook is fair for this nation in 2022. There are many exciting vehicles in the tech tree though, especially if you're a fan of the Spitfire. Britain has a fairly large tech tree and many good premiums to pick from. Iconic vehicles like the Centurion and Chieftain are well represented in the game, but the line is not as popular as others because of how slow British tanks are. This is largely a preference thing, I know, as I find slower vehicles give me time to think about my tactics a little bit more. Still though, the meta in War Thunder favors fast and mobile vehicles, and this is not likely to change anytime soon. Britain has a significant problem here. The lack of mobility in the ground lineup means the line is not as player friendly as others, but you do get stabilized guns at mid-tier when most other nations are still using unstabilized guns. While slow, British Challenger Series NBT is a top tier of extremely well armored and forgiving turrets and adequate ammunition choices. British ammunition isn't the best, but good armor balances that disadvantage out a bit. But still, building a dynamic top-tier lineup that's flexible enough to keep pace with the tempo of the battle can be a chore. Mobility challenged challengers, adequate although outdated light vehicles, and adequate close air support choices are what you face here. Two exceptions are the Jaguar GR1A and the AH-1 Mark I Apache for CAS. The GR1A is the only aircraft in the game with a thermal vision targeting pod and smart munitions, and this is the only Apache that can fire Hellfires and Starstreak missiles, the latter being very effective against lightly armored ground vehicles as well as aircraft and helicopters. The potential for this line is fair. Britain gets useful updates in some patches, so it isn't all bad news. For example, the South African mini line was added to Britain in 2021, as well as the Challenger 2 TES. These are good developments. If you don't mind playing slow, non-meta vehicles and you're okay with the tech tree not getting efficient vehicles every update, then Britain can be fun. Gaijin keeps this line relevant, but not on the cutting edge of competitive. Next is France. The outlook is fair for this nation in 2022. There are many exciting vehicles to explore in this tech tree. If you are drawn to auto-loading tanks, France has lots of them pretty early in the tech tree. If you're a fan of the AMX 30 series of tanks, get ready to have some fun. France has some very capable and modern vehicles at top tier like the Leclerc, the ITO 90M SPAA, which is one of the best missile SPAs in the game, the Jaguar A, and the Tiger helicopter. Burst firepower is very good for France due to the autoloaders. but you don't have the best rounds in the game. Some AMX-30s pack 20mm cannons in addition to their main guns for added carnage, and I find that actually pretty fun. France has one significant disadvantage, and it can be a bit of a deal breaker for new players, and that's the lack of stabilizers on some mid-tier tanks. So the player friendliness factor is an issue here, especially if you're new. The power of the French line at top tier at least is the all-around balance of auto-loading tanks with good armor and good mobility. Close air support options for ground lineups are adequate, mostly because the Jaguar can carry smart munitions, and the Tiger helicopters are okay even though the hot missiles have short ranges. France has a lack of effective top-tier light vehicles though to support their MBTs. French top-tier aviation is quite lacking, and they have no aircraft above 10.3 BR right now. The potential for this line remains fair. Gaijin has much more they could add, and they could start to close many of the gaps for France. Right now the line is competitive, although the risk of power creep is always present due to the infrequent amount of efficient vehicle updates for France. Next is Sweden. The outlook is optimistic for this nation in 2022. There are some unique and exciting vehicles to explore in this smaller tech tree. Sweden's distinctive combat vehicle requirements produce things like the S-Tanks, which can be fun to play. If you want to play something different, look here. Although different does not always mean player-friendly. The S-Tank mechanic is still out for debate, and the skill floor is a little high, so new players may want to save this line for later. Firepower is very good in this line, especially with the indigenously designed vehicles. You also get Swedish upgraded derivatives of the Centurion and Leopard 2 tanks, which are generally very good. You have no problem dealing with competitors within the vehicle's BR bracket. The lineups complement each other very well, and there are plenty of capable light vehicle choices such as the 90 series of infantry fighting vehicles and tank destroyers. You also get some of the best missile SPAAs in the game from rank 6 to rank 7. You have enough variety to make good lineups in this tree, and close air support options are adequate. You have one aircraft, the AJ-37, which is capable of carrying smart munitions. Top tier air is also very good. The JA-37C Viggen is one of the best fighters in the game. Sweden does not have a helicopter tree though. I'm still optimistic about the potential for this tree. Gaijin has more that they can add, but Sweden is a small tech tree and they probably don't want to run out. So expect additions for Sweden will probably slow down in 2022. Right now it's competitive, and Gaijin could always add better ammunition to keep it that way. Next is China. The outlook is cautiously optimistic for this nation in 2022. There are multiple exciting vehicles for ground at top tier like the ZTZ 96 and 99 series. Chinese ground and air vehicles follow the Russian doctrine of tank design, and many of their vehicles are significantly modified or locally designed derivatives of Russian equipment. There are some exceptions, however. For example, Chinese MBTs do not use ATGMs, and many vehicles in the tech tree are of American origin. The line is somewhat player-friendly as many of the gaps, namely in the SPAA area, have been filled in rank 6 and 7. Firepower for the line overall is adequate at top tier with good ammunition choices. Chinese tanks have adequate armor and mobility and can generally contest its peers within their BR brackets. Lineups had always been a problem for the Chinese tech tree throughout 2021. As I mentioned, some gaps have been filled, like with anti-air at BRs 8.3 and 9.7, but some still remain. China has no 11.0 BR MBT and no 11.0 BR SPAA. China also has no aircraft at 11.3 BR and no helicopter tech tree. However, Gaijin has been paying attention to the line lately and has been adding efficient vehicles to fill gaps in player lineups. I'm cautiously optimistic about the future potential of this line, as there is a lot to be added. After being ignored forever, the tech tree gets regular updates now, and Gaijin seems to be focused on making it competitive. Next up is Japan. My outlook for this nation in 2022 is concerned. Now there are some very good vehicles in this tree like the F4EJ Kai and the Type 10 which just arrived, and it's pretty exciting overall, but the nation is not in a good spot. The lineups at mid and top tier often don't have synergy because of a lack of options. There is a lack of light vehicles that can complement your MBTs, and a lack of effective SPAA. The Type 16 and Type 89 light vehicles are all you get, and the Type 93 is a IR only SPAA, and it's only a 9.0 BR. and you got nothing else. You do get a longbow Apache, but other close air support options are pretty adequate. You don't have anything with smart munitions. I'm concerned for the future potential of the tech tree because there isn't much to add unless Gaijin goes the mini nation route like South Africa. It took forever for us to get the Type 10, and I know Japan really just doesn't have much more to add. So the line probably won't receive any significant updates this year. Next up is Italy. My outlook for this nation in 2022 is very concerned. Although Gaijin has added some new vehicles in 2021, overall this tech tree is in a very poor state. Italy has no competitive top-tier aircraft, and its top-tier ground lineup is crumbling. We're a long way from when Italian top-tier MBTs had the best round in the game. Dev attention and resources have obviously gone elsewhere, and it shows. The future potential for this tree is bad at the moment. I would not recommend grinding it until Gaijin presents some sort of get well plan. Right, so the last tech tree here is Israel. If I had to guess, I would say this nation might turn out to be very good in 2022, but we have to wait to find out. I simply don't have enough information. There are many exciting vehicles, though, that we could see in this tech tree when it's finally released, and I'm personally excited for its potential. Alright, that's the video for today. I'd really be interested in hearing your comments on this list. Did I miss anything? Would you have switched stuff around? Let me know, and I'll see you in a future video. Thank you.